Hey Steph, welcome back to the Your Inner Power series. How you doing?
Hey, buddy, I'm doing really well. I'm doing really well. So good to see you again.
It is so good to see you.
Yeah.
I'm excited because today is our last episode of our Your Inner Power series. And I'm a little bit sad because I've really enjoyed our weekly episodes and recording them. Um, Before we kick off to our final session, is there anything you wanted to say?
I just wanted to say, and I know people won't be able to see this, but I really like your new haircut. You look so much younger.
Thanks for saying that. All right, let's jump in. So, the last time we recorded a session, we talked about the role of insight and the built-in human design for well-being and success. And for our final session, I wanted to talk about the deeper dimension of who we are and our true unlimited potential. I wanted to explore, like, what does that really mean, and how have you experienced it, and how have you seen other people experience it, and how can we spend more time in that space of being in our true unlimited potential. And with that said, I'm going to throw the ball to you, Steph. Take it away.
Bless you. Thank you, Nikon. So what comes to mind is probably one of the first insights that I had when I came across this understanding that we talk about. And after 50 years of stress and anxiety and fear and not good enough thinking, I had a moment where I saw that the person that I thought I wasn't real. I began to see, and this goes for everybody, I began to see that all those years of conditioning, brainwashing, programming that I'd taken on from when I was very young had created a very small box of limitations that I called Stef. I had all sorts of ideas that I can't go to that party, I can't ask that girl out, I can't have that job, I can't go outside, I can't go in elevators. There was a layer after layer after layer of ideas that I had about myself. And when I came to this understanding, I began to see that those ideas weren't actually true. I had lots and lots of beliefs, and that I was shy, that I was not good with people, and that I was not good with crowds. Yet, at the same time, I was a professional musician, and I would perform on stage in front of hundreds and thousands of people. But my box wouldn't allow me to see that. That for me was I didn't take that into account, So everything that I thought I couldn't do, at some point or other, I'd actually done. But my thinking wouldn't allow me to see what I was capable of. It would only let me see what I thought I was incapable of. So this was a very, very deep revelation for me. It felt like I'd been let out of prison. All of a sudden, I began to look at life and say, well, what if I can do this? What if I can go to that party? If I can learn this language? What if I can do anything that I thought that I couldn't? The liberation in that insight, I cannot tell you, it was life-changing. So, to me, beyond our limited thinking, beyond the box that we create for ourselves, there is a much bigger game available. There is a much bigger us. There is, beyond our limited thinking, beyond the ideas that we have of ourselves, we are part of the intelligence of life. We are part of nature. We are being nourished by the planet. We are being lived by something much bigger than us. We are being breathed. Our heart is being beat. We don't do these things ourselves. There is something that is guiding us, that is holding us. And we have a choice, once we understand it, to pay attention to it. When we pay attention to this source energy, this essence of who we are, we have the potential to think, feel, be anything in the moment, not limited in any way. We can feel excitement, sadness, grief, love, kindness, compassion, feel anything. We have the potential to create anything, do anything, and be anything. That's what I see as being our true unlimited potential. And since I came across this understanding, my life has transformed in so many different ways. I get to travel the world and I get to share this understanding, and I get to watch people wake up to that, to their unlimited potential. which 10 years ago, it wasn't in the script for me. In my limited little box, I did not have the imagination to have the life that has been gifted to me. And that's the interesting thing, is that while we're in our little box, we can only see what we already know, what we already have experienced. We cannot comprehend that we do not have the imagination of the universe. And when we surrender to it, when we rest in not knowing, and we just follow the insights, and we follow the guidance system that we've talked about in previous weeks, we find that there is a life that we could never have imagined, that we could never have known exists for us. That's what unlimited potential means to me.
I'm gonna need a moment to sit with that. As you were sharing, my own journey came up, and I saw that as you were sharing about how you were feeling you weren't good enough and defeated, and how you were living in limited possibility because you weren't tuned into your true full potential. And I can't help but wonder how many people are still living like that and not knowing how much really is available to them. And gosh, for me to share my story, and in parallel to yours, is I took the I'm going to do something about it route. I was very aggressive, I was very arrogant, I was very overconfident, and I thought, like, okay, given that you're a piece of shit, Nikon, I'm going to take this piece of shit and I'm going to turn it into something amazing. I'm going to become the best version of myself. I'm going to get all these success habits. I'm going to get all these, install all these success mindsets, and if I can just do that, by golly, I'm going to be good enough and I'm going to make it, So I spent probably 10 years trying to do that, trying to attract the right things with my mindset, and trying to be somebody else, because in my head, who I really wasn't good enough. Because if he was good enough, he would get the things he wanted, the results he wanted, the gold medals, the money, blah, blah, blah. And working on myself became a full-time job. Like, it was my life's work. And it's like, and it was so tiring. I was so drained by it. And like, each new year, a new book would come out, or a new model of how to be. And that would give you a glimpse of hope that, oh, there's something else that I can do to improve, to be better, to develop this thing. And I kind of accepted that fate, that I was always going to be on the self-improvement hamster wheel of never really being good enough and having to always improve and looking for the edge. And then one day I took an online course by Michael Neal about business, because I was interested to be better at business, because I was shit at it in my head. And I can't even tell you what he said, but I heard something that made me, I need to know more. So I read The Inside Out Revolution, and then it kind of dawned on me that, oh, I don't know what this feeling is, but it's new. It felt deeper, like something deep inside me started to wake up. And one of my first big realizations was, like, I'm okay. And I always was okay. And who I really am was always good enough for whatever showed up. And over 3 to 4 years since then, whatever woke up has started to wake up more and more. And as it woke up, and I have my relationship to my true potential has deepened. And in our world, we call it grounding, right? And just getting to get a bigger perspective about things has totally changed my life. I no longer, I rarely react to things. Like, I'm more responsive simply because reacting doesn't seem helpful to me. Getting angry over things seems strange to me, when before I used to have a really quick temper. And now it just makes less sense. Like, I'm much more intolerant of stress and pressure, meaning I just know when things are off. Like, I'm much more intuitive and tapped in and tuned in. Things kind of fall into place. And like you said, I love what you're saying about you're being lived by life, you're being breathed by life. And I really felt those words, because I feel that is much more true for me. And I have far less interested in what I want and more interested in making more space for life to breathe through me. And the things I get to do and the things I get to create have been life changing. For example, a month ago, I went to Korea, and for 2 weeks, and my business ran fine, and I got to dream vacation / work, do Taekwondo intensive. I met Taekwondo Olympians and grandmasters, and I was like, wow, I could never imagine this would be in the cards at the beginning of the year. And bringing this back to the people listening, what I see on offer is people, in my experience, don't know that they're trying to create their life on a postage stamp of possibility, because that's all they can see. And I guess a different metaphor would be people not even knowing that they're seeing the trees, not knowing that there's a forest also available, but they're so focused on the trees and trying to get out of that. I was mentoring someone who's building a coaching practice, and I would say they're trying to get out of the beginning phases of that practice, and so it requires a lot of work, a lot of coaching, and the idea of getting a job came up, and this person was like really adamant that that was not the way, that was not the thing she was going to do. And I was listening to this person talk about it, and the thought occurred to me, yeah, but you have no idea. You really have no idea what could come from getting a job. You might meet new people, you might learn the skills you need to grow your coaching business. And I saw a thought, I was like, wow, that thought looks real enough for you to immediately, no, I'm not doing that. When life might be guiding you that way. And to me, I think, and I'm guilty of it, when I first learned that there's something called your true full potential, I thought it was a technique or a tool that if I learned that, check, I'm done. Not realizing that this is a lifetime thing, a lifetime of grounding, a lifetime of going deeper and deeper and making more space. This quote has come up a few times, and I don't, now that I'm talking to you, Stef, I don't think it's a mistake. It's a Taoist quote, either that or Wu Wei, and it talks about how empty space, like a pot, we value the pot, but the pot is not what makes it valuable. What makes a pot valuable is the empty space within a pot. And it goes on to talk about windows and how the space in the windows that allows us to see through the window is what makes a window functional, not the actual physical frame. Or home, we value the space within a home that we can be in, and that's what makes it valuable. And so that's where I'm at in my journey. And with that, I'm going to throw the ball to you, Stef. What are you seeing?
I love that. I love that. I think what I see about my journey and about the journey that we're all on, really, is it's about the journey from the head to the heart. It's the journey from the intellect, the conditioning, what we think we should be doing, and what we think we're capable of, and what goals we can achieve, within that limited little box possibility. And when I say heart, I mean when we live from that deeper dimension, that space beyond the box, that space of love and compassion and kindness and inspiration and joy and passion. It's that when we live from that place, that gives us the root, you know, when we can, the next thing we do is something that feels alive for us, that lights us up, that excites us, rather than the, oh, you know, I have to do it this way, and I know I don't want to do this, but I know I'm going to have to do it anyway. There's something about living from that deeper place that just makes life so much more fun and enjoyable. You know, it's a richer, deeper, more meaningful experience of life, and it makes everything better. It makes our relationships better. Everything that we value in life takes on a bigger glow, a better feeling. Everything does feel more meaningful. And as you say, that journey from the head to the heart, that's a lifetime's journey. But oh my gosh, it is so freeing to allow ourselves to be lived in this way, to allow ourselves to be able to create from this place, to love from this place.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
For someone listening who might be thinking, wow, this sounds so good, this sounds so great, the how question comes up, right? Where do I start? How do I tap into this true, full, unlimited potential? Where do I begin? And I'm going to answer it first in my head, and then I'm going to pass the ball to you. And this is the answer that used to piss me off a lot. Because when I would ask this question to people, I was looking for, what do I do? And the first step is to recognize, to me, that there really is nothing to do. Like, it's this thing we're talking about, this formless energy, is not a result of action, of doing. To me, it's a result of recognition, of recognizing and knowing where to look, that this thing really does exist within you. And within you, we don't mean, or I don't mean, your body or your like, when I say heart, I mean that spiritual, that the meeting point of spiritual and psychological, that space within. That's where this potential lies. And people experience it all the time without even knowing, like when they're driving and they're not thinking about much, or when they're in a settled state of mind. And people think, oh, settled state of mind, meditate. Like, no, you can. I've had a really settled state of mind when I was competing in Taekwondo and I was beating people up, or when I'm teaching, or when I'm writing. To me, that's what I would say to that question, is knowing where to look, recognizing the space within yourself. And I don't know if this is the right word, but the word that comes up is creating that relationship with that space. I'm gonna throw the ball to you.
Okay. So I remember when, again, going back to when I first came across this understanding, I was, I was learning all sorts of psychological techniques and strategies and things. And I was coaching people using NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. And I became a very good student, and I would coach people. But I noticed that it changed things in the moment, but it didn't kind of have any long-lasting beneficial effect for people. So like you, I came across the Inside Out Revolution book by Michael Neal. We should be getting royalties for this. And I don't know, I read it and I couldn't tell you what it was that resonated with me. I did not understand it to start with. I didn't have a clue what he was talking about, but there was something in the words that kind of spoke to me, and I wanted to find out more. So I signed up for a course and still didn't get it. Still didn't understand what they were talking about. Somebody actually said to me, are you trying to compare it to the other things that you've learned, like NLP? And I was going, yeah, of course I am. So they said, stop doing that. Don't do that. Just try to come at it, clean, with a beginner's mind, and see what lands. And so I did that, and things just began to make sense. I'm not saying that I, was instantly transformed overnight, but I was drawn towards it. There was something in the conversation that kept me coming back to it. So what I would say for people is, if our conversation has piqued some interest, has felt like it has resonated on some level, even if you don't have a clue what we're talking about, then just follow that. Just try and find out more about what we're talking about, which is what I did. I just contacted a number of people that were sharing this understanding, and had lots of conversations, and just followed that feeling of, there's something in this. There's something that I want to know more about. There's something that is true about this, and that's kind of just how I got into it. It was just following that feeling that I had, and I think that's for me, the advice I would have is follow that feeling. If it resonates with you on some level, just have conversations, read books, watch videos, see where it takes you.
I'm laughing or I'm smiling because that's how my Taekwondo career started. I thought it looked cool when the other kids were kicking stuff, and I just wanted to try that one move. And 20 years later, I have another question. I wonder, because we're talking about the formless and your true and limited potential, and I'm wondering, people who are dealing to them like I'm going to call them real world problems, like stress and overwhelm, like what's the implication of tapping into your true and limited potential when you meet with things or thought created obstacles like stress and overwhelm and burnout? What would you say to that stuff?
What popped into my mind just now was I think what happens is that we may still experience stress, we may still experience burnout or some form of that. But when we understand what they are, when we can see that ultimately they are thought created, we then have the opportunity to have a different relationship with them. We have a different relationship with our thinking. And we don't necessarily buy into it. I think the suffering that there's something, there's a Buddhist saying, isn't there, that all suffering comes from, is a result of a disagreement with what is.
There's another one. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional.
Exactly. So, Sid Banks, who was the guy that uncovered the understanding as we speak about it, would say, if only people could learn to not be afraid of their experience, of their feelings, what a different world it would be. And I think that's the gift of changing our relationship with our thoughts and our feelings, is it doesn't hurt as much. We don't suffer as much. It doesn't mean we don't feel anything, but it means that we can still be effective. We can still be we can still touch that deeper part of ourselves that is going to guide us out of it. And when you know that, well, I mean, really know that, when it's happened so many times that you trust it implicitly, we don't get scared anymore. We know we can rise to the occasion every time.
What occurs to me is something I went through fairly recently. So I have a martial arts business in Thailand, and it's scaled really quickly. We have 10 branches, we have 14 staff in like 3 different cities. And I was feeling really overwhelmed because there were a lot of details, and because it's scaled quickly, it's like I'm catching up with the business in terms of systems and the way we do things. And I had an interesting experience where I was feeling really overwhelmed, and a part of me knew better. Because my habitual reaction to overwhelm would be to tighten up, control, really like control, micromanage so I could feel better. And what occurred to me in sitting in overwhelm is like, oh, I'm okay. And that I can really rely on my innate knowing, my deeper wisdom, my connection to source, to unlimited potential, to guide me, to protect me, to show me the way. And sure enough, within a couple of days of just letting myself settle, it kind of sorted itself all out. The right person showed up. In fact, I was putting together a plan like, okay, I need to hire a secretary who can do accounting and this and that. And then somebody within the team raised their hand, like, actually, if you let me, I'd like to take a shot at this new position. And they were already a senior head instructor. but they said, I see this as an opportunity to grow. And if you're willing to teach me and be patient with me, I want to give it my best shot. Now that's every team leader's dream, for someone to step up to the plate, right?
Well, I just want to say that
Yeah.
what occurs to me about that is that wasn't in your plan.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't at
That was
all.
that was not a viable option in your head. That wasn't even something you would have even considered as
Yeah.
being possible. But you allowed that flexibility.
Mm.
You weren't so fixed on, right, no, I do need I do need a proper bookkeeper. I
Yeah,
do
yeah,
need
yeah.
you weren't so fixed in your ideas about what needed to happen.
That's right. That's right.
And something way better came out
Yeah,
of it.
yeah, yeah. And like you said, I love what you said, because I said that to another mentee about trusting and believing and just knowing. And this has happened enough times where, like, I don't trust it. I don't even believe it, but I just know it's there. And that's really made the biggest difference. And a metaphor comes to mind. If you're driving, the GPS says, like, turn this way, and you're looking like this GPS is dumb. Like, that's obviously the wrong way, because of all these reasons I have. And now, like, I'm willing to go wherever it leads, because I know it knows better. It knows more than me. It has my best interest. And there's another quote. I forgot who said it. It said something to the effect of, there's nothing you need to do to get the universe to be on your side, because you are the universe. You are your limited potential. Um, you're it. You are your unlimited potential. And I want to drop a truth bomb, because this truth bomb was dropped on me by none other than Mavis Karn, the OG. She said, Nikon, you are who you are only ever looking for yourself. And what she was pointing to is, you're only ever looking to connect back to this truer, deeper, innate, full, unlimited creative potential. And the biggest joke out of all that we're talking about is, we spend our whole lives looking for that in everything else, in money, in success, in status, and whatever, not realizing that it was within us this whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. We look outside of ourselves for all those things: peace, feeling safe, feeling secure.
Mm.
But it doesn't come from outside of us. It can't come from outside of us. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well done, Mavis.
Yeah, well done, Mavis. Mm. I'm feeling pretty good about this. I wonder if you have any last, given that this is our last session in the series, I wonder if you had any parting gifts for people who made it this far.
I would just love people to just begin to question their ideas, their beliefs, their concepts about who they are.
Mm.
I just want people to consider, just consider that maybe the things that we think we can't do, we actually can. And to begin to consider that there is a bigger game than the one we're playing, that we are so much bigger and so much more full of possibility and potential than we could ever have imagined. What would it be like if we could just begin to get a glimpse of our true power?
I don't think I have anything to add to that. Except one thing. I think this was said to me and a group of students, but Dr. Bill Pettit, and we asked him, like, what would you tell us before we go out and try and make the world a better place? And he said, just be gentle with yourself. Be really gentle. And he said it with so much love that we all felt like we just got a big hug from this very wise, gentle soul. And that's what if you made it this far in the series, just be gentle with yourself. And
Beautiful.
And good luck.
Perfect.
All right, Stef. Well, this is it. And I guess I'll see you when I see you. Thank you. This has been such a treat. This has been so much fun. And this has been such a wonderful experience. I'm so grateful that we got to do it together.
Me too. Exploring with you, Nikon, it's so deeply nourishing and fun. I love it so much. We need to do more.
Yes, we do. Well, until our next adventure, it's been an absolute pleasure. All right, bye, Stef.
Bye, Nikon.